Hey everyone, name's Mark, and I'm 35. Divorced, unfortunately. Used to be married to Jessica. She was 32 when the papers were signed. I'm an engineer. Got a solid gig downtown. Pays the bills and then some. We have a son, Max. He's 6 years old. The absolute center of my world. Jessica and we met the classic New York way through a mutual friend at a bar in the village. We hit it off, started dating, and after 3 years of navigating the city together, we decided to get married. Thought we were building something real. We splurged on a honeymoon, Miami Beach, the works. Sun, sand, turquoise water. Supposed to be paradise. But even in paradise, trouble can find you. Picture this. White sand, palm trees swaying, and my wife, Jessica, laser-focused on every group of guys walking past. Mostly Latin guys. It was Miami, after all. Then she leans in, her voice low, almost conspiratorial. You know, these Latin guys are definitely shorter than American men on average. Makes you wonder. You think they're smaller, down there? I laughed honestly. Just thought it was a bizarre, silly question. Tried to play it cool, brush it off. But looking back, that comment, on our honeymoon of all places, it was a red flag waving right in my face. Jessica was always obsessed with fitness. Gym was her second home. Kale smoothies her daily fuel. Always had to be in control, especially of her body. When she got pregnant with Max, I went into overdrive, trying to be the perfect supportive husband. Cooking organic meals, bringing her breakfast in bed, even though she could totally get it herself. But trying to be the doting husband, pampering her every chance I got. My mom drilled it into me. Happy wife, happy pregnancy, happy baby. So I tried to keep Jessica happy even when her hormones were doing loop-de-loops. When Max arrived, everything changed, in a good way at first. He was this tiny, perfect human, and suddenly my priorities shifted. I knew I had to climb the corporate ladder, hustle harder, make serious money. Kid changes everything, right? 5 years flew by. Max was starting kindergarten. Life was stable, if a little predictable. Then Jessica decided it was time to get her body back. Started hitting a new gym, some trendy place downtown. That's when the slow-motion train wreck began. Within 2 months, Jessica had lost almost 20 pounds. 20 pounds. I was genuinely shocked at the transformation. Every day she looked more sculpted, more toned, like she was morphing into some kind of fitness model. I saw it happening gradually, but the cumulative effect, it was startling. I remember asking her, genuinely impressed, "Jess, what's the secret? You look incredible. What are you doing?" She told me, all nonchalant, "Muay Thai. It's amazing for cutting weight." Muay Thai? Okay. Seemed intense. But hey, results spoke for themselves. Inspired, maybe a little envious, I decided to dust off my old gym membership, the one I'd let gather dust for years. Started lifting again, hitting the treadmill. Felt good to be back in the gym, pushing myself. I was getting fitter, sure, but the weight wasn't melting off me like it was for Jessica. Frustrating, to say the least. One day, I casually asked her if I could maybe check out her Muay Thai gym, maybe even train with her instructor. Thought it could be something we did together even. She got weird, hesitated, stammered a bit, then said, "Oh, Uh, the classes are totally packed, Mark. Like, wait list only. And they're not taking any new beginners right now. Packed? Really? Felt like a brush off, a lame excuse. But I didn't push it. Brushed it off. Didn't think too much about it. Stupidly. A few days later, I was leaving work, heading for the subway, when the receptionist called me over. "Mark, hold on a sec. There was a guy here looking for you earlier." "Looking for me? Who?" "Did he leave a message?" I asked, puzzled. "Nope," she said. "Just asked for you by name. Didn't say why." "Okay." "What did he look like?" I asked, trying to picture anyone I knew randomly showing up at my office. "Asian guy," she replied, "kind of intense looking. And he had a tattoo on his neck, like a really noticeable one. Asian guy with a neck tattoo. Didn't ring a single bell. Shrugged it off, figured it was some wrong number situation. New York is full of them." The very next evening, Jessica asks out of the blue, "Hey, you want to go see a Muay Thai fight tonight?" Muay Thai fight? Where did that come from? "Front row seats," she adds, like it's no big deal. "Front row? Seriously? How'd you swing that?" I asked, genuinely surprised. Jessica, front row at a fight? Not exactly her usual scene. "Oh, my trainer's fighting," she says, all casual. "He got me tickets." Her trainer? Fighting professionally? Suddenly, things started clicking in my head, little puzzle pieces falling into place. But I was still clueless about the bigger picture. "Sure," I said, trying to sound enthusiastic. Sounds interesting. Never seen a Muay Thai fight up close. So there we were, ringside at some fight club in Brooklyn. Smoky, loud, adrenaline in the air. After 3 brutal fights, each one more intense than the last, it was her trainer's turn. Lightweight bout, 150-pound division. The fighters stepped into the ring, and that's when I saw it. Both fighters had neck tattoos, identical, elaborate, swirling designs. My mind flashed back to the receptionist's description. The Asian guy. Neck tattoo. Weird coincidence, right? I chuckled to myself. Small world, New York. Bell rang. Fight started. And Jessica's trainer, this guy named AP, I think she called him. He just exploded. Blitzed his opponent with a flurry of kicks and punches, a whirlwind of controlled violence. 15 seconds, maybe less. Knockout. Fight over. One-sided demolition. The crowd went wild. AP was celebrating in the ring, flexing, bowing, soaking up the cheers. Jessica was practically vibrating with excitement. I excused myself to use the restroom, the cheap beer catching up to me. When I came back, I scanned the crowd for Jessica, and that's when I saw it again. From across the ring, I saw Jessica hugging AP. Not a quick, polite pat on the back, a full-on embrace, arms wrapped tight around his neck, her body pressed against his. Something cold clamped down in my chest. Anger, confusion, a sickening sense of dread. Maybe it was just a trainer-fighter thing, I tried to tell myself. Team spirit, adrenaline rush, whatever. But the way she was holding him, it felt intimate. Wrong. Driving home, the silence in the car was thick enough to cut with a knife. Finally, I broke it. "So," I said, trying to keep my voice neutral, That hug with your trainer seemed pretty intense. Jessica stiffened beside me. He's my trainer, Mark, she snapped, her voice sharp. He just won a fight. It was a hug, okay? What's the big deal? It's not like I'm sleeping with him. Sleeping with him? Where did that come from? I hadn't even suggested that. But her defensiveness, it was like a neon sign flashing guilty. She was furious, radiating anger. Silent treatment for the rest of the night. At home, she sulked, barely spoke. Finally, she hissed. You totally ruined my mood back there, you know. I was so happy for AP. He fought so hard, and you had to go and make it weird. Make it weird? I just asked about a hug. I apologized weakly, tried to smooth things over, but she was having none of it. Went to bed on opposite sides of the mattress, a chasm between us wider than the Hudson. Next morning I woke up, the empty space next to me jarring. Jessica wasn't in bed. I got up, a knot of unease tightening in my stomach. Started looking for her. Living room, empty. Bathroom, empty. Then I heard a faint murmur coming from the kitchen. Walked in and froze. Jessica was standing at the kitchen island, naked as the day she was born. Her phone was propped up on a cookbook, angled towards her, video call going, and I heard her voice, soft, seductive. This is your prize for today. Prize? For who? I walked closer, heart hammering against my ribs, picked up the phone, and saw her face on the screen, recording a video. She hadn't sent it yet. Before I could even process what I was seeing, she spun around, startled. Oh, she gasped, trying to snatch the phone back. I was making that for you, Mark, to make up for last night, you know, to say sorry. Sorry? By recording a naked video? For me? Yeah, right. Something snapped inside me. Rage, betrayal, disgust. A toxic cocktail of emotions. I grabbed her arm, spun her around, and slammed her down on the kitchen island. Turned her over, and just took her. Right there on the cold granite countertop. No tenderness, no words, just raw, animalistic need to, I don't even know what, to reclaim something that was slipping away, to punish her, to punish myself. When it was over, she collapsed onto the floor, gasping for breath, hair tangled, eyes wide and dazed. Wow, she panted. We should do that more often. Do that more often. After what she'd just pulled. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. And somehow, foolishly, I wanted to believe her. Wanted to believe it was just a messed-up attempt at reconciliation. Wanted to believe anything other than the truth that was screaming in my face. Woke up the next morning, a strange mix of confusion and, dare I say it, hope. Maybe we could salvage this. Maybe it was just a blip, a stupid argument blown out of proportion. I went to my gym, needed to blow off some steam, clear my head. Worked out harder than I had in years, pushing myself to the limit. It was a cold, gray New York morning, so I had a beanie pulled low over my ears and a hoodie up. Finished my workout, feeling physically exhausted but mentally still churning, walking out of the gym, heading for my car parked down the block. That's when I saw him. A man standing near my car, leaning against the hood. around 5'7", maybe 5'8", Asian. And as he straightened up, walked towards me, recognition slammed into me like a punch to the gut. Jessica's trainer, AP. He walked right up to me, his face a mask of cold fury. "I love your wife," he snarled, his voice tight, low, menacing. "And I've her every day, twice a day. Send her home drippin' with my sea. You stay the F away from her. Leave her alone." My brain short-circuited. What? Was this really happening? I just stared at him, dumbfounded, a confused, disbelieving look plastered on my face. Just then, two of my training buddies, guys I'd known for years at the gym, walked out behind me. "Hey, Mark, you good?" They saw the tension, the confrontation unfolding. AP, emboldened by an audience, started yelling, throwing insults, slurs. "You pathetic cuck! She's mine now. Walk away from your wife or I'll beat you down right here." Beat me down? This little guy? I was still reeling, trying to process the words, the sheer audacity of what he was saying. My friends stepped closer, ready to intervene. I held up a hand, stopping them. I needed to hear this, needed to understand the level of delusion this guy was operating on. "Clear as day, man," I said, my voice dangerously calm. "What exactly are you saying? You sure you know who you're talking to?" He puffed out his chest, practically vibrating with rage. "Jessica is mine! She loves me! I want her and I'm taking her!" And then he did something truly insane. He ripped off his jacket, threw it on the ground, and got into a fighting stance. Hands up, fists clenched, bouncing on the balls of his feet, like he was back in the ring. Ready to fight. Me, a former high school wrestler, 6'3" and pushing 260 pounds, and this guy, soaking wet, he might hit 150, threatening to beat me up. Fight or flight. Instinct took over. I yanked off my beanie. For a split second, just a fraction of a second, I saw a flicker of hesitation in his eyes. Recognition. My cauliflower ear, a badge of honor from years on the wrestling mat. It's a signal to anyone who knows anything about fighting. This guy knew. He knew what it meant. But he was too far gone, too pumped up on ego and testosterone to back down. He shook his head, a defiant snarl twisting his lips, and raised his fists again. "You want some? Come on, tough guy!" Tough guy. He had no idea. I shrugged off my own jacket, let it drop to the pavement, got into a loose stance, just to humor him. He lunged, surprisingly fast, and threw a wild haymaker. Caught me on the side of the head, grazed my eyebrow, stung like hell. Blood trickled down my forehead. "You want more?" he screamed, adrenaline coursing through him. Before the last syllable even left his mouth, I was on him. Double-leg takedown lightning fast, years of muscle memory kicking in. He was airborne, 6 feet off the ground, legs flailing. That sickening thud when you hit the pavement from that height, the air exploding from your lungs, vision blurring, everything going black for a split second. I picked him up again, not gently, slammed him onto the hood of his own car, metal crunched, dented inwards. Picked him up again, and again, and again. Each impact a brutal, satisfying release of pent-up rage. He was just limp, a crumpled heap of flesh and bone on the ground. My friends rushed over, pulling me back. "Mark, that's enough, man. He's done." "Dude, "We saw everything," one of them said. "We're witnesses. If he tries anything, we got your back." The other one was already filming on his phone, capturing the aftermath, just in case. My day was far from over. The confrontation in the parking lot, the brutal takedown, it was just the opening act. More secrets were waiting to be unearthed, secrets that would make this parking lot brawl look like a playground squabble, secrets that would shatter my world into pieces. Got home, hands shaking, adrenaline still coursing through my veins. Downed a glass of water, trying to calm myself. My friend texted me the video of the fight, the brutal takedown, the car hood crumpling. It was visceral. I found Jessica in the living room, looking pale and drawn. "Jess," I said, my voice flat, emotionless. "We need to talk. Sit down." She looked at me warily, sensing something was different, something was wrong. I smiled, a grim, humorless smile. "Got a video for you," I said, and tossed her my phone. Played the video. Her face, already pale, drained of all color. Her eyes widened in horror as she watched the brutal beating unfold. Tears welled up, streamed down her face. When the video ended, she didn't scream, didn't yell, just whispered, her voice trembling. "Why? Why did you beat him up like that?" "Why?" I echoed, my voice cold. "Let me ask you a question, Jessica. Why did you sleep with him?" The question hung in the air, heavy, suffocating. She recoiled as if I'd slapped her. "What? What are you talking about?" "Don't play games, Jess," I said, my voice hard, unforgiving. "I know. He told me everything, every detail." I repeated AP's words, verbatim, the words that had ripped through me like a knife. "I love your wife. I for every day, twice a day. Send her home dripping with my S." Her carefully constructed facade crumbled. She started sobbing, a broken, desperate sound. It's not like that," she stammered, tears streaming down her face. "I was just curious." Curious. My blood ran cold. "Curious?" I roared, the dam finally breaking. "Curious about what, Jessica? About screwing my wife?" She choked out the words, barely audible through her sobs. "Ever since I started training with AP, I wondered if it was true what they say about Asian men." "What they say?" I was beyond disbelief. "You cheated on me. You slept with that animal, because you were curious about some thing stereotype." She continued, her voice barely a whisper. "It started small. Just flirting. Harmless flirting, I thought. And then, one day during training, I accidentally kicked him. In the groin. It was an accident, I swear." I apologized profusely. Later, after class, I went to his office to apologize again. And he flirted back. He showed me where I kicked him." She trailed off, unable to meet my eyes. "And then what, Jessica?" "Then what happened?" Silence. Then, in a barely audible voice, I don't know. It just happened. I don't know how. One minute we were talking, the next, we were doing it. And how long has this been going on, Jessica? She wouldn't answer. I pressed her, relentless. How long? Finally she whispered, months. A few months. Months. Months of lies, months of betrayal, months of sneaking around behind my back. And you said you were curious, I repeated, the word tasting like poison in my mouth. She started pleading, tears streaming down her face. Mark, please, I love you. You're my only love. This was nothing, just physical, meaningless. Can't we just forget about it? Pretend it never happened. Just think of it as casual sex with some random guy. No feelings involved. It can be overlooked, right? It doesn't have to ruin everything, does it? Overlooked? Casual sex with the guy who just threatened to beat me to a pulp and bragged about sleeping with my wife twice a day? I stared at her, at this woman I thought I knew, this woman I had built a life with, this woman who was now begging me to pretend her betrayal was just a minor inconvenience. Silent. Numb. Then I picked up the phone, dialed her mother's number, put it on speaker. Her mom answered, cheerful, oblivious. Hi, Mark. Everything okay? No, Mrs. Davis, I said, my voice flat, devoid of emotion. Everything is not okay. Jessica has something she needs to tell you. And then I told her. Everything. The affair, the lies, the fight, the whole sordid, disgusting mess. Jessica started screaming at me, hysterical, clawing at my arm, trying to grab the phone. Her mother on the other end of the line started crying, a heartbroken, wailing sound. I hung up. Jessica erupted. Why did you tell my mother? Why would you do that to me? Just think of it as telling her a joke, Jessica, I said, echoing my earlier words to her. I sat down on the couch, the silence in the room suddenly deafening. Jessica kept screaming, ranting, pacing like a caged animal. But I didn't hear her, couldn't hear her. The world had gone silent. I just watched her, her mouth moving, her face contorted with rage and self-pity, like watching a play with the sound turned off. A few seconds, or maybe minutes later, I snapped back to reality. Looked at her, really looked at her, and saw nothing. No love, no connection, just emptiness. Get out, I said, my voice low, steady, final. Get out of my house, Jessica. Talk to a lawyer. Start the divorce negotiations. She dropped to her knees, clinging to my legs, sobbing. Mark, please. Think of Max. You'll ruin his life if we get divorced. Don't do this to him. I looked down at her, at the tears streaming down her face, the desperate plea in her eyes, and I felt nothing except a cold, hard resolve. I smiled, a mirthless, bitter smile. You're right, Jessica, I said, my voice like ice. It's a very valid point. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? I wonder if you thought about Max, even for a second, when you were screwing that fighter. Hope the sex was good, Jessica. Really good, because you're going to need those memories. You'll need to replay every orgasm, every stolen moment, every lie you told yourself to justify this. this garbage. Because I'm sending a written complaint to his gym. He'll be fired. Jobless. Maybe he'll go crawling back to whatever hole he crawled out of. Or better yet, maybe if he loves you so much, he'll take you with him. Now pack your bags, Jessica, and get the F out of my house. She kept crying, begging, pleading. I stood up, walked to the door. "Don't wake Max," I said, my voice flat, devoid of emotion. "And be gone by the time I get back." I walked out, leaving her kneeling on the floor, her world collapsing around her. I called my mother-in-law again, told her everything, confirmed my decision to divorce Jessica. No going back. Came back to the house a few hours later. Saw Jessica and her mother leaving, suitcases in tow. Walked inside, the silence of the empty house hitting me like a physical blow. Went to Max's room. He was asleep, oblivious to the earthquake that had just ripped through his little world. My heart shattered. My son, caught in the crossfire of his mother's selfishness and my broken heart. I sat down on the floor next to his bed, tears finally welling up, hot and heavy, streaming down my face. I curled up on the floor near his bed and wept. For my son, for my broken family, for the life I thought I had. Next morning, I met with a lawyer, explained everything, shared the video of the fight, the text messages, the whole sordid story. He was stunned. Even hardened divorce lawyers get surprised sometimes. He said he'd do everything he could to ensure I got custody of Max. He also advised me to file a formal complaint with the gym, which I did. The gym acted swiftly. AP was fired, his fight contracts terminated. Karma in its own brutal way. The video of me beating him down went viral in some underground fight circles. Apparently, I became some kind of internet folk hero, the cuck-fighting engineer. I didn't care. Never spoke to Jessica again. The divorce was brutal, messy. The courts, in their infinite wisdom, awarded custody of Max to Jessica. Joint custody, technically, but Max lives with her. I see him whenever I can, every weekend, every holiday, but it's not the same. My heart aches every time I have to say goodbye. I had to give up the house, our house, to Jessica as alimony, plus child support payments every month. Jessica's curiosity, as she so casually called it, had decimated my life, emptied my bank account, and broken my family. I want to leave New York, start over somewhere new, disappear. But I can't. Max. He's the anchor keeping me here, the only reason I get out of bed some days. I can't imagine my life without seeing him, without being his dad. But dealing with Jessica, the constant strained interactions, the bitterness that lingers, it's a constant low-grade pain. Dating, relationships, laughable. My mind is still a battlefield, replaying the betrayal, the lies, the violence. Trust, intimacy. Those words feel like relics from a past life. Guess not every story has a happy ending. Sometimes life just throws you a knockout punch and you're left on the canvas, wondering what the hell just happened. This is my story. This is my life now.